The classroom was empty, the late afternoon sun slicing through the blinds like sharp knives. Mrs. Elena Hartley dropped her bag on the desk and froze. There, in the middle of her neatly stacked papers, was a small, folded note, its edges worn, its handwriting trembling. She didn't recognize it. There was no name. She unfolded it, and the words inside made her chest tighten. "I know what's happening at home. Please don't give up. A friend." Her hands shook. No one was supposed to see. No one was supposed to know. Somewhere in the silence of the school, a secret was reaching out. And tonight, the truth that note carried would change everything, forever. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more intriguing story. The last bell of the day had barely finished echoing through Willow Creek Elementary when Mrs. Elena Hartley returned to her classroom. The room was still warm with the chatter and energy of her third graders, crayons uncapped, chairs askew, sunlight painting gold stripes across the carpet. But on her desk, placed perfectly in the center, lay a small folded note. No name, no decoration, just a single piece of lined paper, folded twice with unusual care. Elena frowned. Probably another drawing of a cat wearing sunglasses, she thought with a tired smile. But when she opened it, her breath caught. "I'm sorry for what you're going through. I know because I hear it at home. Please don't give up. A friend." Her hands trembled. No one at school knew. No child should know. Her marriage had been quietly crumbling for months, cracks widening with each whispered argument behind closed doors. She arrived early, stayed late, and hid the swelling in her eyes behind kindness and carefully applied makeup. But a child, one of her children, had heard something. And worse, they recognized it. Elena sank into her chair, the note trembling in her hand. She felt the weight of a child's pain tucked inside each penciled letter. Someone wasn't just observing her, they were living something similar. She read it again and again, trying to hear the voice behind it. Who had written this? How long had they been hurting? A quiet knock sounded on her doorframe. It was Principal Green, his face drawn. "Elena, we need you in the counseling room." Her stomach twisted. "Is everything all right?" He hesitated. A student came forward. "They said they wrote something for you today." His voice softened. "And they said they couldn't go home." The world seemed to tilt. Elena followed him down the hallway, her heart pounding, the note clutched so tightly it wrinkled. Shadows stretched long across the lockers as the late afternoon sun dimmed, and every step made her more aware that this wasn't just about her struggles anymore. This was about a child reaching out for safety. When the principal opened the counseling room door, Elena froze. Sitting there, knees pulled to their chest, tear-streaked, shaking, was a student she never would have expected. A student whose life she thought she understood. A student whose secret was far more devastating than she ever imagined. And when the child lifted their eyes to her, their first trembling words made her knees weaken. "Mrs. Hartley, I didn't just write the note for you. I need to tell you something about what's happening at my house, something that can't wait." Elena stepped forward, heartbreaking, but before the child could speak, a loud crash echoed from the hallway. Then hurried footsteps. Then someone shouted her name. And just like that, the truth she thought she was ready to hear was about to change everything. The shout sliced through the air, sharp enough to make both Elena and the child flinch. Principal Green spun toward the door, his expression tightening. "Stay here," he whispered before stepping out into the hallway. But the footsteps were already approaching, quick, uneven, urgent. Elena moved instinctively, placing a reassuring arm around the trembling child. "You're safe," she murmured, though her own pulse hammered in her ears. "No one is going to hurt you here." The counselor, Mrs. Leung, quietly locked the door. For a moment, the three of them sat in strained silence, listening to muffled voices outside. Elena couldn't make out the words, but the tone was raised, frantic, desperate. The child's breathing hitched. "Mrs. Hartley, I think my dad came. He wasn't supposed to." Elena felt her chest tighten. "Is he dangerous?" The child hesitated. Their small voice shrank to a whisper. "When he gets mad." A soft knock sounded, gentle but firm. "It's Principal Green," came the voice from the other side. Mrs. Leung peeked through the small safety window, then opened the door with caution. Principal Green stepped in, shutting it quickly behind him. His face was pale. "Elena, this might be more serious than we thought," he said quietly. "We need to call protective services immediately. The police are already on their way." The child froze. Is he going to be mad? He always says if people find out. Elena knelt so she was eye level with them, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "Listen to me. You did the bravest thing you could do. You reached out for help. Nothing that happens now is your fault. You're not alone anymore." Tears welled in the child's eyes, but for the first time, their shoulders eased just a little. Just then, the intercom crackled to life overhead. "This is an emergency lockdown. All staff, secure your classrooms immediately." Elena's blood ran cold. Principal Green grabbed his radio. "What happened?" Static. Then a trembling voice. "A parent." He forced his way in through the east entrance. "He's demanding to see his child." Elena felt the child cling to her. The principal whispered, "He's asking for you by name." Mrs. Leung's hand flew to her mouth. "He knows they're here." The hallway outside erupted with distant shouting. Then, another crash. Elena hugged the child tighter, heart racing. Her own pain, her own struggles. Suddenly they all felt small compared to the fragile life curled against her. And in that moment she made a silent promise. Not this child. Not today. Not ever. But before she could speak, the doorknob rattled violently. Someone pounded on the other side. And a voice roared through the wood, a voice that froze the room in terror. "Open this door. Now." The pounding on the door thundered through the small counseling room, shaking the frame. The child buried their face into Elena's shoulder, trembling so hard she could feel it through her blouse. Mrs. Leung pressed her back against a filing cabinet, one hand covering her mouth. Principal Green stepped between the door and the others, though the fear in his eyes betrayed how unprepared he felt. "Stay behind me," he whispered. Another slam rattled the door. "I know my kid is in there." The voice, raw, furious, echoed down the corridor. The lock held, but the sheer force made the metal creak. Elena swallowed hard, forcing her voice low and steady. "It's okay," she whispered to the child. "No one's letting him in. You're safe with us." But the child shook their head violently. "You don't understand. When he gets like this, he'll do anything." Principal Green lifted his radio again. "Front office, where are the officers? We need them at the counseling room now." Static. Then, "They're inside. Heading your way. Hold the door." But holding the door felt like asking a rainstorm to wait politely. Another impact. The hinges shuddered. Bang, bang, bang. Mrs. Leung flinched with every hit. Elena tightened her hold on the child and spoke softly, urgently. "Look at me." The child lifted watery eyes. "You did the right thing by asking for help. Whatever happens tonight, this ends. Do you hear me? It ends." The child nodded, though their eyes were full of fear, and something deeper. Something like hope. Then, silence. The banging stopped. Everyone froze, listening. For a moment, the hallway felt impossibly still. Principal Green stepped toward the door, not opening it but listening for movement. He might have gone toward. The small reinforced window in the door shattered inward, spraying tiny cubes of safety glass across the floor. A hand shot through the opening, large, furious, bleeding, and reached for the inside handle. The child screamed. Mrs. Leung jumped back. Elena surged to her feet, pulling the child behind her. "Get away from the door!" Principal Green shouted, trying to push the intruding arm back out. But the man on the other side roared with rage and pushed harder, his fingers brushing the inner lock. For a terrifying heartbeat, Elena thought he might actually reach it. And then voices. Sharp, commanding voices. "Police! Step back! Move away from the door now! Hands where we can see them!" The arm jerked back violently. Footsteps scuffled outside. A shout, a warning, the unmistakable click of handcuffs. Then silence. Real silence. Elena's breath left her in one long, shaking exhale. The child collapsed into her arms, sobbing in relief. Principal Green unlocked the door cautiously. Officers stood in the hallway, guiding a handcuffed, red-faced man toward the exit, his eyes wild, still searching for his child even as they led him away. Mrs. Leung knelt beside the child, speaking softly, comfortingly. "You're safe," she whispered. "It's over." But the child shook their head. "No, no it's not. You don't understand." Their voice wavered, breaking. "There's something else. Something I never told anyone." Elena's stomach dropped. "What is it?" The child looked up at her, eyes full of dread. "My dad, he wasn't the only one I was scared of." Before Elena could ask anything, before anyone could breathe, another officer rushed into the hall, face pale. "Principal Green," he said urgently, "you need to come with us. We just discovered something in the parking lot. It changes everything." Elena's heart lurched. What could possibly be worse? The officer hesitated, then spoke the last thing any of them expected. "There's someone else here, and they came looking for the same child." Elena felt the air thin around her. Someone else? Looking for the same child? Principal Green exchanged a glance with the officers, then turned to Elena. "Stay with the child. Don't leave this room." He hurried out, the officers close behind. The counseling room door shut again, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. Elena knelt in front of the child. "Sweetheart, who else could be here?" The child's small hands trembled in their lap. It's hard to explain." Their voice cracked. "I didn't tell you everything in the note." Mrs. Leung pulled a chair close. "Whatever it is, we can help. You're not in trouble." The child squeezed their fists tight, knuckles white. "After my mom left, Dad wasn't the only one who got angry. Someone else started coming around. Someone he said would keep an eye on me when he couldn't." Their shoulders tightened. "Someone worse." Elena's heart squeezed, but she kept her voice gentle. "Do you know their name?" The child nodded slowly. "Yeah. And if they're here, they're not here for me." A tear slipped down their cheek. "They're here for him." "For your dad?" Mrs. Leung asked. The child shook their head with a sharp, trembling movement. "No. They're here for the person who helped me write the note." Elena's breath caught. "There's someone else involved?" The child nodded again. "I wasn't brave enough to tell you everything. I wasn't alone when I wrote it. Someone told me what to say. Someone who said they wanted to protect me because they heard what my dad was doing." Their voice dropped to a whisper. "They said they'd make sure he never hurt me again." Elena felt a chill crawl up her spine. "Who?" she asked softly. The child hesitated, then finally said it. "My older brother. Liam." Mrs. Leung blinked. "You never mentioned a brother." "He doesn't live with us anymore," the child murmured. "Dad kicked him out last year after they fought. Liam's been hiding, watching out for me. He found me after school sometimes. He told me to leave the note so a teacher would notice." Their voice cracked. "But if he came here, he must have heard Dad was coming too." Elena's pulse quickened. "Do you think he's in danger?" The child nodded silently. Before Elena could say another word, the hallway erupted in a burst of frantic voices. Then a single, piercing shout. Then a thud. Elena shot to her feet. Mrs. Leung rushed to the door window, peering through the narrow glass. Her face drained of color. "Oh no," she whispered. "Something's wrong. Very wrong." Elena's heart pounded. "What do you see?" Mrs. Leung swallowed. "Officers are running toward the back doors. Principal Green is yelling for medical." The child stood too, wobbling. "Is Liam?" Before anyone could answer, an officer suddenly sprinted toward the counseling room, urgency written in every step. He flung the door open. "Mrs. Hartley," he said, breathless, "we need you to come identify someone. A young man. He says he knows you." Elena felt her stomach twist. "Me?" The officer nodded. "He asked for you by name." The child gasped. "Is it?" But the officer cut in, voice urgent. "Please. Hurry." Elena squeezed the child's hand. "I'll be back. I promise." She stepped into the hallway, her breath shaking, her mind racing, and followed the officer around the corner. But nothing could have prepared her for the sight waiting on the floor of the back corridor. The hallway felt colder than it should have, too quiet, too still, as if the building itself were holding its breath. The officer led Elena around the corner, past lockers and a row of overturned chairs. Ahead, a cluster of emergency responders knelt beside someone on the floor. A young man. Elena's steps faltered. He was slumped against the wall, one arm pressed tightly to his ribcage, his dark hair matted with sweat. His clothes were worn, his face bruised, but his eyes were open. And those eyes found her instantly. "Mrs. Hartley," he rasped, trying to sit up straighter. Elena froze. She knew that face. "Liam," she whispered. The boy nodded weakly. You remember me?" Of course she did. Liam had been in her class years ago, bright, restless, always staying late to help pack up colored pencils or straighten desks. She remembered the way he tried to hide bruises under long sleeves. How he used to say he didn't mind staying late because home was loud. She had never forgotten him. "What happened?" she breathed, kneeling beside him. Before Liam could answer, Principal Green stepped close, speaking low. "He was found outside the back entrance. He tried to warn us his father was coming, but someone else confronted him before we got there." Elena's eyes widened. "Someone else?" Liam swallowed hard. "He followed me here. I shouldn't have come through the woods." His voice cracked. "I didn't think he'd find me." "Who?" Elena asked. "Who followed you?" Liam's gaze flicked toward the doors as if expecting someone to burst through them. Fear tightened his face. "My dad, he wasn't working alone." He winced as a paramedic checked his ribs. "There's another man. Someone Dad owed money to. Someone dangerous." Elena felt a chill climb her spine. This was no longer just a family problem. This was something darker. "They made a deal," Liam continued. "If Dad helped him, he'd look the other way with us. But Dad messed up. And now that guy, he's after anything Dad cares about." His breath shuddered. "Including my little brother." Elena's heart lurched. "Is he still here? The man who followed you?" Liam nodded weakly. "He's somewhere on the school grounds. I saw his truck behind the gym, but I ran before he saw me." Principal Green's radio crackled suddenly. "All units, we've got a visual, unknown male by the west playground. He's armed." Elena felt the world tilt. The paramedic grabbed Liam's shoulder. "We need to get him to the ambulance, now." But Liam reached desperately for Elena's hand. "Please," he choked out. "Don't let him get to my brother. He'll say anything to get close." His fingers tightened. He knows what the note said. He knows the school will protect him if he claims to be family. Elena's heart dropped. The child was still in the counseling room. With staff. With officers who didn't know the whole story. With someone who might try to slip past them. "Mrs. Hartley," Principal Green said urgently, "you need to stay with the officers. It's not safe to go anywhere alone." But Elena took a step back. Then another. Because at that exact moment, her phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. "I'm here for my kid. They said you have him." Her blood ran cold. How did he get her number? How close was he? Then, another message. "Room 214, right?" The counseling room. Her vision blurred for a moment. She looked up at Principal Green, voice shaking. "He's not outside anymore." "What do you mean?" he asked. Elena held up her phone. "He's inside the school. And he's heading straight for the child." And before anyone could react, another message appeared. This one a single sentence. "If you want to stop me, you'd better hurry." Elena's hands trembled as she gripped her phone, the glow from the screen casting shadows across her face. The hallway felt impossibly long and empty, even with officers rushing past. "Room 214, she whispered. "That's where the child is." Principal Green's jaw tightened. "Lockdown procedures. No one goes in there until SWAT arrives." "But he's inside," Elena protested, her voice cracking. "If he gets to them." "I know," Green said grimly. "But going in alone is suicide." Elena's heart pounded. She thought of the note, the small, trembling words that had started all of this. And then she thought of the child, curled up in that counseling room, still clutching hope like a fragile lifeline. She couldn't just stand there. She started toward the door. "Mrs. Hartley, wait," an officer shouted. "You can't." But she ignored him. Every step down the hallway made her feel both terrified and alive. She had been a protector for so many kids over the years, but this was different. This was personal. The hallways were eerily silent now, every locker and classroom door a shadowed threat. She reached the corner and froze. A figure slipped past the edge of the light, tall, broad-shouldered, moving with purpose. Her stomach dropped. It was him, the man who had sent the text. Her pulse thundered. He moved like he knew the building intimately, like he had already calculated every escape route. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. "I see you. Don't try to be a hero. Room 214 is mine now." Elena swallowed hard. Her mind raced. She had to warn the child. She had to stall him. But she was alone. And then she heard it. A faint sound, barely audible over the echo of her own heartbeat. A child's voice. "Mrs. Hartley?" Her breath caught. It was them. The child. The man froze, listening, his shadow stretching across the floor like a threat. Elena took a step forward, trembling but determined. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself. "You can do this. You have to." She pulled her phone out, hands shaking, dialing 911. The line clicked. "911, what's your emergency?" "I'm inside Willow Creek Elementary," she whispered, barely audible. "There's a man, armed, and he's inside the building. He's going to room 214. The child's in danger." "Units are on their way," the dispatcher said firmly. "Stay safe, ma'am. Keep your distance." Elena's gaze flicked back to the figure. He had moved closer to the counseling room door, his hand hovering near the handle. Her heart hammered. Her mind raced. And then, suddenly, the man's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Elena's eyes widened as she read the screen over his shoulder. The message that appeared there froze her in place. "I see her too. Don't let her stop you." The man's eyes flicked up and locked onto hers. A cold smile spread across his face. And then he lunged. Elena's heart lurched as the man lunged toward her. Reflexively, she stumbled backward, bumping into the lockers. Her phone slipped from her trembling hands, clattering to the floor, but she didn't have time to retrieve it. The shadow of the intruder loomed over her. Every instinct screamed run, but she couldn't leave the child alone in room 214. Not now. Then, from somewhere behind him, a voice rang out sharp and commanding. "Stop. Now." The man froze mid-step. Elena squinted down the hallway. 2 uniformed officers had arrived, guns drawn, taking careful, rapid steps toward him. He sneered, glancing from Elena to the approaching officers. "You think this changes anything?" he spat. Elena's chest heaved. She tried to steady her voice. "It ends now. You're not taking anyone else. Not today." The intruder's gaze flicked toward room 214, then back to her. His grin twisted into something dangerous. "You don't understand, she isn't just a teacher." Elena stiffened. "What are you talking about?" Before he could answer, a sudden crash echoed from the far side of the hallway. Doors slammed open. And then, Liam. He emerged from behind a row of lockers, his face pale but determined. "Stop," he shouted, running straight for his father, or the man who had been hunting him. The intruder hesitated, distracted, and the officers immediately moved in. Elena's heart leapt. Liam wasn't just a witness, he was part of this fight now. The man raised his hands, then bolted, sliding through an exit near the gym. The officers gave chase, but Elena knew there wasn't enough time. She turned, finally moving toward room 214. The child was still inside, still shaking but alive. Elena opened the door slowly, relief flooding her. "Hey," she whispered, kneeling down. "It's okay. He's gone, for now. You're safe." The child's eyes were wide, trembling, but they managed a tiny nod. "Mrs. Hartley, he's not the only one, right?" Elena swallowed. "I don't know. But we're going to protect you. I promise." Then, Liam appeared in the doorway behind her, bruised but steady. I think he might come back. He knows we're here. Elena's stomach sank. She looked at the child, then at Liam. She realized the truth. The danger was far from over. And then, a faint sound from the ventilation shaft above them, a whisper. Elena, you think you can hide them from me? Her blood ran cold. The intruder had never really left. Elena froze, her eyes darting to the vent above the counseling room. The whisper had been faint, but unmistakable. The man was still in the building. The child gasped, clutching at her sleeve. He's still here? Elena swallowed hard. Yes. But we're not going anywhere. Not without a plan. She glanced at Liam, who had stepped closer, his expression tense. Do you recognize that voice? Liam's jaw tightened. That's him. He's taunting us. Trying to make us move, make us panic. A shudder ran down Elena's spine. The man knew them. He knew how to strike fear. And now he was inside the building, closer than they thought. The child whimpered. Mrs. Hartley, what if he comes through the vent? Elena hugged them tightly. Then we'll be ready. We're not alone. She looked at Liam. We need to get out. We need a safe exit, and the child needs protection. Liam shook his head. We can't leave. Not yet. He knows we'll run. He'll find us before we get outside. Elena frowned. Then we stall. We keep him occupied. I'll talk to him if I have to. Just then, a loud metallic clatter echoed from the hallway outside, the unmistakable sound of someone testing the doors. The child gasped. He's trying to get in. Elena's heart pounded, but she forced herself to remain calm. She pulled out her phone, trying to get a signal for help, but the line was dead. Then Liam whispered, I have an idea, but it's risky. We can lure him into the main office. The cameras are still live, and the officers will see everything. But, his voice faltered. It might be the only way to trap him. Elena hesitated. And the child? I'll protect them, Liam said firmly. I've been protecting them for years. This time I won't let anything happen. Elena nodded slowly. We do it together. A shadow flickered across the doorway, and a voice hissed from the vent again. You can run, but you can't hide. The child squeezed Elena's hand, trembling, and Elena whispered, We're not hiding. We're ready. Liam peeked toward the hallway. I'll go first. You follow Mrs. Hartley. Take the child behind me. When I give the signal, run. The three of them exchanged a tense nod. Elena's stomach twisted with fear and determination. She knew the man was unpredictable, dangerous, and closer than ever. But she also knew one thing. She would not let this child, or Liam, face him alone. And as the first footstep echoed down the hallway, she whispered to herself, It ends tonight. One way or another. But before they could move, the lights flickered and went out. The school was plunged into darkness. The darkness was immediate and suffocating. The hum of the fluorescent lights cut out, leaving only the faint emergency exit glow casting eerie shadows along the hallway walls. Elena's pulse raced. She felt the child's small hand tighten around hers. We need to stay calm, she whispered, though her voice trembled. Stick close to me. Liam stepped in front of them, scanning the hallway with narrowed eyes. He's using the blackout. He wants to scare us, wants us to make a mistake. A soft scuffling noise echoed from the far end of the corridor. Elena froze, straining to hear. It was deliberate, slow footsteps, circling, searching. The child whimpered. He's coming for us. Elena bent down to their level. Listen, we've been through worse. And now we have each other. We can do this. A sudden metallic scrape echoed from above, the vent. Elena's stomach dropped. He's climbing through the vent, Liam said, his voice sharp. We need to move now. Elena swallowed hard, gripping the child's hand. Where do we go? Liam pointed toward the teacher's lounge. We can barricade the door. Give the officers time to find us. But we have to get there quietly. They moved in tense, careful steps. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like an alarm. The scuffling from the vent grew louder, then stopped, too close. Suddenly, a shadow stretched across the floor ahead. Elena froze. Liam held up a hand. The shadow shifted, inching closer. Elena's breath caught. The intruder's voice hissed, "You can't run forever, Mrs. Hartley. You think a little darkness will save them?" The child gasped. He knows my name." Elena's jaw tightened. "Not for long," she whispered. "We're almost there." They reached the teacher's lounge and slammed the door behind them. Liam immediately pushed a heavy filing cabinet in front of it, just as a loud thump rattled the door. "Go! Hide!" Liam shouted. Elena ushered the child toward a supply closet at the back. They ducked inside, barely breathing. Through the thin door, they could hear the man pounding and cursing outside, his rage palpable. Then, silence again. Elena hugged the child tightly. "It's going to be okay. The officers, they'll find us." Liam peered through a crack in the door. "Not if he moves fast. He knows the layout, he's been planning this." A sudden click made all of them flinch. The door handle of the supply closet rattled. From the inside. The child screamed. Elena's blood ran cold. She grabbed a flashlight from the closet shelf, aiming it toward the door, and froze. A figure crouched inside with them. Shadowed. Silent. And then a familiar voice whispered, "I didn't make it in time to stop him, but I can help now." Elena's heart skipped a beat. She recognized it immediately. It was someone they thought was gone forever. Elena's grip tightened on the flashlight. Her breath caught in her throat. The figure crouched silently in the corner of the supply closet, just out of the dim beam's reach. Who are you?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the pounding of her own heart. A low, familiar laugh came. "It's me, your husband's old friend. Someone who knew what your family was going through." Elena froze. Her mind raced. She had heard stories, rumors of someone who had always watched out for Liam and the child from the shadows, but she never imagined it would come down to this. The figure stepped forward slightly, revealing a young man's face, determined but wary. "I've been tracking him," he said. "Your husband's accomplice. The one he owed money to. I followed him here because I knew he'd come for the kid, and I knew you'd need help." The child clung to Elena's side, eyes wide. You knew." The man nodded. "I promised Liam I'd make sure nothing happens tonight." Elena's mind raced. "But how did you get in here? The doors were locked and the intruder—" "I've been inside before," he said grimly. "I know all the exits, all the cameras. I can guide us out, but we have to move now. He's not far behind." Suddenly, a muffled crash echoed from the hallway outside. The intruder had found the barricade. Elena swallowed hard, gripping the child's hand tighter. "All right, let's go." The three of them moved silently toward the back exit, hearts pounding. Liam led the way, checking each corner as they went. The unknown ally stayed close behind, keeping watch. Then a shadow moved across the hall. Elena froze. The intruder had found them. Before she could react, Liam whispered sharply, "This way," and yanked a side door open. They slipped inside a narrow maintenance corridor. The child whispered, trembling, He's still following us, isn't he?" Elena's voice was firm. "Yes. But we're not running blind. We're going to end this tonight." They crept through the darkened hallways, every step echoing. And just as they reached the stairwell leading to the parking lot, the man's voice boomed from somewhere above them. "You can't escape. I know where you are." Elena's heart raced. Liam exchanged a tense glance with their ally. Then, without warning, the lights flickered back on, too late. And there, at the top of the stairwell, silhouetted in the emergency glow, stood the intruder, holding something in his hand. Something that made Elena's blood run cold. It was the child's note. The note fluttered in the intruder's hand like a cruel flag. Elena's stomach twisted. The words, the simple, heartfelt plea written weeks ago, had become a weapon in the wrong hands. "Give it back!" Elena shouted, stepping forward, her voice ringing through the stairwell. The intruder sneered, stepping closer. "You think a piece of paper can stop me? I know everything now, who you care about, who protects you, and who's going to help me get what I want." The child whimpered behind her, clutching Elena's arm. "He won't hurt us, right?" Elena forced a steadying breath. No. Not if we stay together. Not if we're smart. Liam tightened his fists. You're not getting anywhere. This ends tonight. The intruder laughed, raising the note higher. You really think your little backup can stop me? Alone, you're nothing. Suddenly, a voice cut through the tension, calm but commanding. Step away from them. Now. It was the unknown ally, the man who had been tracking the intruder all along. In one swift motion, he stepped into the stairwell, placing himself between Elena, the child, and Liam. The intruder's grin faltered. What to? Police are on the way, the ally interrupted. You've already lost. The intruder's hand twitched toward the note, but Liam lunged forward. In a heartbeat, he grabbed the note and yanked it away, ripping it free. The intruder's balance faltered. Now! Liam shouted. Elena grabbed the child's hand. They bolted down the stairs as the ally confronted the intruder, keeping him pinned just long enough for the sound of sirens to grow louder. The intruder froze, realizing the building was swarming with officers. He tried to flee, but the doors slammed open behind him. Police rushed in, surrounding him within seconds. Handcuffs clicked. The intruder's expression shifted from rage to disbelief. Elena, Liam, the child, and their ally reached the parking lot. The night air felt like freedom, crisp and real. The child clung to Elena, sobbing, but safe. Is it over? The child whispered. Elena hugged them tightly. Yes. It's over. Liam stepped beside them, bruised but standing tall. It's finally over, he said, his voice firm but soft. Nobody's hurting you anymore. Not ever. The unknown ally gave a small nod. He won't come back. You're safe now. And this note, he said, glancing at the torn piece in Liam's hand, is proof. Sometimes courage starts small, but it can grow into something unstoppable. Elena looked down at the note. She remembered the trembling lines of pencil, the small, anonymous voice reaching out for help. She realized something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in months. Hope. She turned to the child. You were brave. You spoke up. You trusted someone with your truth. That's what saved us all. The child smiled through tears. I just wanted someone to know. Elena knelt, hugging them again. And now everyone knows. And you're safe. As police led the intruder away, Elena glanced at Liam. What now? He smiled faintly. Now we heal. Together. And we make sure no one ever feels like they have to face this alone. For the first time in months, Elena felt something settle deep inside her, a mixture of relief, redemption, and hope. The night sky stretched above Willow Creek Elementary, quiet now except for the distant hum of sirens fading into the darkness. And though the danger was over, one truth remained. Courage can start with a single note, a single voice, and sometimes, that's all it takes to change everything.